Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Mike.
Yep.
Good morning. And
Hello?
Nick is here.
No, I'm not.
And Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773.
You forgot somebody.
Oh, and Steve is here. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Good morning, America.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is being brought to you by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to ignore you. It's just I'm not used to it anymore.
Well, that's it. We're not a regular, so
Yeah.
you're forgiven. Only because it's you. I wouldn't forgive everybody.
You are a regular, but you are irregular.
Regular here.
Yeah, irregular, regular. Irregular. So, who's going to open? What's going on?
I wasn't here last week. Did you talk on any of the things that I
Nope.
sent you?
Nope. I left it
Okay.
for you. I mean, they're still timely. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like something that
So the first one, I'll start with the easy ones.
that's fine.
One was last week was an anniversary. I'll open it so I can see it. Was an anniversary to the Control-Alt-Delete,
Oh.
to the invention of the Control-Alt-Delete. The spring of '81. And it's an interesting tidbit because it's so ubiquitous today. And when it was created, it was never intended to go into production. It was like a test feature while testing the machines in IBM in 1975 and 1978 through 1978. Because they were going through iterations of development and they wanted to one of the engineers just needed a fast way of booting the machine and not going through all of the built-in tests. If you remember, in since the XT and the PC, and when you would do a full reset from the button or from the chassis, turn it on and turn it off, it will go through the memory test. It'll count through the memory, test the memory, and then only then boot. And when testing hardware, they wanted a faster way of loading the system. And so one of the guys, he said, okay, let's do Control-Alt-Delete because that is like, and old keyboards didn't have Control on both sides and Alt on both sides. And Delete was only on, Mike, you're not muted. And
Sorry.
Delete was all of the way to the right of the keyboard, and Control-Alt all of the way of the. So it's only with great intention that you press those buttons, and so that was created. And it was like a little known secret when people started using PCs, but eventually it became like, oh, there's this cool trick where you can restart the machine faster. And the word spread out, and it became so ubiquitous that then Microsoft, when they came up with Windows, I think it was NT, it was like, you needed to press this in order to log in.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's everywhere. So yeah, and the guy behind it, I'll find his name in a moment. He has become this sort of inside celeb. You know, if they go to some sort of convention where he speaks about technical issues or whatever, people are asking him to, you know, for signatures on some postcard with Control-Alt-Delete. It's like he has become this icon, this image. He never intended for it. So yeah, that was like a little tidbit that was fun to read.
You know, there's you know what's the other word for Control-Alt-Delete?
No,
Yeah. Three finger salute.
three fingers. Yeah, I remember. I remember a caricature in some website. It was a snake working on a laptop,
Mhm.
and then next to him was Mama Snake calling the little baby snakes, "Hey kids, come help Dad press Control-Alt-Delete," because he has only one finger. Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Control-Alt-Delete. I mean, today it's not being used for any. Well, no, you get it in order to go to the task manager.
That's not true.
Why?
In Windows
No, that's
10, if you use Active Directory, that's how you log in. Control-Alt-Delete prompts the
Really?
login screen. Yeah.
well,
Huh.
it's not on by default anymore, I think, or you can disable it, but yeah, it's there.
Yeah, in the network, in one of the corporate networks that I have access to, the Control-Alt-Delete is it sits at a splash screen until you Control-Alt-Delete.
So
And
just like NT.
yeah, still the same method. I mean, they came up with it in NT, they can't take it away, right? Because there's some users somewhere who really cares about that. So it's always
Yeah.
a problem.
Possible. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and task manager is Control Shift Escape, not Control Alt Delete. Control Alt Delete, you need. There's one
Control.
action. Control Alt Delete. There is one action that only Control Alt Delete can take you as a user from your desktop, and that is change password. So if you are in a domain and you need to change the password for your user,
So it's different between Windows 7 and Windows 10.
no, it wasn't always Control Shift Escape. The task manager comes up as Control Shift. You can Control Alt Delete. You'll get a menu, and then you can choose
Yeah.
to open the task
Right.
manager. But
Yeah.
Control
Sorry. Yeah.
Shift
That's right.
Escape,
Yeah. Yeah.
So through that
True.
menu, there's one thing that that is for domain users is the only way to change a password as an item on that menu. Yeah. Microsoft.
I wonder when Microsoft is going to take that away from us.
Yeah, and what type of Reddit and Twitter storm that will create, right? We're going away with Control Alt Delete. No more. No
Yeah.
need for that anymore.
They'll remove it from the home version and you have to get it when you pay for Pro.
Well, that is something I actually wanted to talk to you about. I've been messing around with my server, and my past couple of weeks was I'm engulfing myself in the concept of ZFS or ZFS, the file system. We talked about it last time I was on, and I know it's like totally geeking out, but I'm so excited about this file system that I was looking for. Is there a solution for hosting ZFS or something like it on Windows? By like it, it's a copy on write file system. The idea of copy on write file systems is no matter what changes are applied to a file on the file system, the actual blocks of the file are never changed, but they are copied to a new block where the changes are committed. And this allows something very unique. This allows basically to hold all of the history of the file system and a way to recover back. So there's a concept called snapshots, which means I have a file. I'll talk with folders because then I can talk about their content. So I have a folder with ABC files, right?
Okay.
And now I'm saying I'm changing file A. So now I have so now if I do a snapshot before that, and my snapshot is just a bookmark of where things are, because it has nothing to do with content. It's not going to save content, and I keep a pointer in the table and saying up until this point of these chain of changes, this is state A. This is my snapshot. And then I change file A, and after that I have a changed file A and the rest of what was there before. And then I take another snapshot and I delete file C. I can roll back to those snapshots or even clone a snapshot, which means make live in another location, these set of pointers, and nothing has changed on the disk in that manner. It's just is that block where file A is written to is linked or unlinked. I know it's hard. I'm probably explaining it incorrectly also. So the whole idea is take a very large file, VM image, for example. If I was to back up this VM for every change that happens, and the VM is, I don't know, 2 terabytes inside, okay? Then I will need always to copy those 2 terabytes, even though the changes might have been, I don't know, 2 gigabytes of data, right? Very small compared to the file. In a file system like this, keeping a snapshot of 10 versions of it will still be about 2 terabytes in size, just with a bit of spare change, because I'll have the complete change set of what was stored by these blocks that are being copied all over. This means that I can roll back any mistakes, any changes with an instant. No copying of a complete image. It's a very efficient way of storing. The reason it was not done before widespread uh, was it requires processing power, it requires memory. All of these have become very cheap. And then managing storage itself also cheap, but what it isn't, it's not fast. And with the ability of these CPUs and controllers to be fast enough, suddenly storage becomes not only fast, very efficient, and very reliable because of other aspects of ZFS, of being able to create arrays of redundancy and all of that. So it's a very exciting paradigm for storage, but it doesn't exist everywhere. It is an open source project. There are some projects attempting to implement this in Windows, but what I really want to see, I want to see this type of file system on my operating system boot image, boot drive, on the system drive. And the reason is a thing like Microsoft updates messing up a system, right? Rolling back means I need to clean up the registry. I need to delete some files and restore the old ones. With a file system like this, rolling back means just move the pointer back, reboot, and we're there, right? There's nothing else to do there. So I was researching, and apparently Microsoft, they do have a copy on write file system, REFS. And REFS, when Windows 8 came out, was part of the operating system, and apparently also Windows 10. But then they removed it from Windows 10. So now I'm trying to find a way of installing it on Windows 10 and
You mean
seeing.
it's available, but it's not a default in there?
No, so it was available in the preview versions. It was part of the OS, and then it was taken out when the OS became
When they put it out?
released.
Okay.
Yeah, so they decided. Apparently, they do have it on server, uh, the server operating system, but so to 2016,
Mhm.
but not on the
Workstation.
workstation one, which I feel like it's a shame. It's like a workstation would benefit from it immensely. Um, so so then then I was reading about possible virtualization options, and Linux has a built-in virtualization technology into its kernel, and it's called KVM. And KVM, similar to Hyper-V in Microsoft, which it's part of the OS, which makes it very, very efficient as a virtualization environment. And what suddenly seems like a worthwhile effort, and this is just because of ZFS, is the ability to boot a machine into Linux running KVM and then hosting Windows as a virtualized VM on that host, and having everything, having Linux with
Mhm.
its system drive on ZFS. This way, if something goes wrong, you not only that, you shut down the Windows machine, which is a VM, you roll back the ZFS to the previous state, and it's really easy to create hourly snapshots with ZFS. You do it while it's running, and so you do that, and then you can boot up Windows. And there are like demos about this outside in YouTube and stuff, and people showing how it works really well. Setting up Windows as a virtualized guest on a host with pass-through. One of the things I want to keep Windows, my son uses Windows for gaming, right? We have a VR headset. I want Windows to connect to the hardware directly. And that is what KVM allows. It just requires setup. So this is going to be my next project, having my main machine hosted on a Linux OS, either Ubuntu or Arch. I really like Arch, so I'll probably play with Arch. And having Windows hosted on a KVM virtual machine with hardware pass-through, so that the gaming rig, all of the hardware itself will be just connected to the VM guest. That is going to be an interesting project, because that is going to provide a peace of mind and the ability of rolling back Windows to any state that we need. That is going Having a system like that is worthwhile the effort. And I'm thinking, right, with uh, there's also stopped me when it becomes like really techy, really boring, because I can go on this probably too much.
I I
Uh,
I think you need to suggest it to Microsoft, not just
oh, I'm I'm just now discovering this, right?
yeah.
This is being out there for a few years. Microsoft, trust me, they've heard everything. It's out there on the web. People are doing this,
Okay.
but now that I'm seeing the potential and I understand this operating system, file system. It's like it completely changed the way you interact with an operating system. One of the big advocates for ZFS is a guy who's running a small business of providing IT services, and because of the availability of ZFS as an open source, a really well-maintained open source project, one of the things he's able to provide small to medium customers is solutions that are in par with huge, multi-hundred of $1,000s worth of enterprise frameworks with very, very basic hardware. And what he does is he sets up a Linux machine with KVM hosting the VMs that they need, using either SSD drives or regular drives, depends on the capacity that they require. Running, everything is being monitored from far, but because he's using ZFS as the base file system for it, everything can be. This is another aspect of ZFS.
I'll stop you here because this is getting way too thick. But here is,
Right.
let's talk about something that we can put our finger on. What happens, first of all, this kind of setup is for a company that have an IT department. Because
that's the thing, not necessarily.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it is.
Well, what
Today
I was
it is.
describing, yes. What I was describing, yes.
Right. Now, let's think about this. What would have happened if one of those cities that got hit with ransom notes, if they had it set up like that? If a ransom gets into Windows, but all the files are sitting on a ZFS, what would have happened to those files? Nothing, right?
Nothing. 10 minutes, the moment it's discovered, right?
Yep.
The moment it's discovered,
just roll it
all
back.
you do is just shut down the system, roll back, boot up, finished.
Dang. You see, now these are things.
This is ransomware reliable. Yeah. Resilient.
It's
because the moment, you're going to lose data, but you're going to lose data only from the start of the attack. So all you need to do is just detect the attack on time.
Right.
It's not restoring from tape. It's not time consuming. And as long as you're not at, over 80 capacity storage, you still have. So the reason I'm saying 80% capacity is because of the way these blocks are being
written. You need to have,
At the moment you're not using a block, it becomes free again, and data can be overwritten.
Right.
So, but if you made a snapshot, then that block is held until you release it. So one of the cool things that is very, very easy to set up is an automated way of creating snapshots. So I have my OS now running a lot of services. That's for my server, running a lot of services in Docker images, and there's still persistent data, right? I have databases there. I have some configuration files. And all of these are stored in their own ZFS data sets. We won't go into the details, but suffice to say, they are in a location where everything is tracked for that application. And all I need to do to go back is just say, hey, go back 2 hours. And the reason I can do it is because I've set up a very simple tool. You should just in Linux, it's 2 command lines to install it, and that tool takes a snapshot of each of these individual services every hour and keeps those snapshots. I have 36 hourly snapshots of every service. And when it's time to do the 37 one, if there's an older one, it deletes the old one. So I always have 36. So instead of just working with my current, and if we're talking about a pointer moving forward in time, I have 36 pointers in time moving forward. So I can always restore it to somewhere in my past 36. And
Right.
on top of that, it keeps daily snapshot and
Okay.
monthly snapshot. So
All
you
right.
can go back anywhere in time.
Gal, what from your quote unquote limited experience with it so
Mhm.
far, what is the downside?
The
Or is there a
downside?
downside?
Uh,
Did you get to the point where you said, "Oh, I wish I did that because now I can't do that"?
okay. So setting it up correctly for the first time,
Mhm.
right? The steps themselves, they're very easy. They're very easy. But making a mistake is also very easy.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're using, let's call it,
Let's not get into the details of what mistakes you're making because that's
yeah,
limitless.
no, you can, yeah, exactly. It's very easy to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So you need to be,
And
you need to understand
right.
there's no real
But
downside.
once okay, so that was the question.
The
So
setup, the setup itself is rather easy if the system
easy for
provides any infrastructure to install it, right?
easy for you to say.
No,
Uh,
I think the major hurdle of installing. So let's put it this way: I don't think a computer user in general needs to know what type of file system they're running. Okay,
a general computer user will never be able to do what you did.
I agree. I agree. But let's put it this way: once this is set up for someone,
Mhm. Okay, yeah.
okay,
At that point, I understand. Yeah, you're right.
the usage is really easy.
Yeah.
So if this was bundled into the operating system, right, and all the user had to do was just know in general that he can download a tool that will snapshot his system every hour for and keep 36 hours back, right? So, or somebody can set it up for them, of course.
Somebody needs to set it
You
up
know
and
what?
somebody needs to do all that stuff because general
Forget about it.
computer
Just look at Windows. Just look at Windows today, right? Windows has the automatic restore option.
right.
Just think of that automatic restore
Well,
option
it's not
hooked up
remember,
to
remember, it's not automatic. And if you will go
that is
to the average computer user, they don't know how to take it back to a previous. They have no idea how to do this. That's
well,
why they have
yes and no.
service. They
Windows
have
prompts it to your face if something went wrong the last time, right? It asks you, do you want to restore to a previous version? And it gives you a calendar. You know that UI. We never use it, and the reason we never use it is because it is very inefficient. It is very inefficient. And
yeah,
here it has
bang bang.
the
Yeah,
exactly, it has the opportunity of being so effective, right? That is suddenly, why didn't we do it earlier? Now I agree there was
uh,
no reliable file system like this available to a workstation,
right.
but from this point forward there shouldn't be that excuse anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Let's see. Let's see. Nick,
What's up?
what do you think would happen over in the office there if somebody's machine is screwing up? What are they going to do?
Well, they're not my computer, so they're not really my problem. But we don't have a set of we don't have a individuals. It's a BYOD environment. So
Okay, so
Right,
no,
but if a
but
crypto if a crypto attack starts on one of the workstations, right, and
okay.
now it infects the shared file server, what
Hmm.
do you do?
do you have a shared file server now?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. That
My,
would be a problem.
yeah, but my question is if a user in the office sees this message, what are they going to do? You want me to
Uh,
answer it? They're going to go to Nick.
Well, yeah.
They're going to say, Nick, what is this? They're not going to do anything. Mike, how about at your office?
What about it? What's
If
the question?
something like this happened and somebody sees something, do you want to go to a previous point or this and this happened? What do you want me to do? Is a user in the office going to know what to do?
Yep.
They will.
Yep. They're going to call the IT guy.
Yeah, that's you see, Gal. This is my point. These things are not for your general user. They
I-
have to have somebody that they can turn to.
I've got to
Yeah,
tell
but
you this. This is a little bit unrelated, but I think it illustrates Amnon's point. I was on the phone with my grandmother yesterday. It's her birthday, and Nexstar Communications has an ongoing dispute with DirecTV and AT&T. So all Nexstar stations have been dropped. And she was explaining to me how my grandfather went out and bought an antenna and hooked it up to the TV, and they still don't get any channels. Now, anybody that's ever hooked up an antenna to a digital TV knows you have to scan because the channel is on a virtual channel that is
right,
mapped to channel 8, channel 6, channel 10, channel 13, whatever it is.
right.
So over the phone, I had to walk her through how to scan her
Mhm.
TV with that. So I think the point, Amnon, you're trying to illustrate is that people, when it comes to technology, are very stupid in a lot of
It's
cases.
not stupid.
Well, it is. They
It's
just don't,
mis
and that's
it's
not a negative word. It's just that they don't know what they're doing.
yeah,
They hook
it's
up
not their thing.
my
You know?
grandparents used an antenna on a TV 50 years ago, and when you used it 50 years ago, you plugged it in, you turned the dial on the side of the TV, and it tuned to the UHF frequency.
I'll give you a
But it's
better
not like that anymore.
I'll give you a better way to explain it. You use your brain every day.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You use it all the time. If something happens to your brain, are you going to fix it? Are you going to operate on it?
I mean, I
No.
don't know. Mike,
You're
Mike,
gonna
Mike,
go
Mike,
to
Mike
the
will operate on
doctor.
his.
That's the thing is that there are a lot of things like that, Gal, and this will be. I mean, I wish, but it's still not there, and it's going to take years before something like this is going to become the norm. But it will be there for people that want to use it and know how to use it. And the whole point is that if this is a way to save possible attack, to save possible loss of data, to save anything like that, to prevent, you need to hire the right people. You know what the problem, in my opinion, today is? That everybody that has servers in their office, not everybody, majority, they have a Windows server. And with a Windows server, it's a Windows expert, engineer, whatever you call. I can't remember what they call them. They have a thing, a title, and they are not going to even listen to something that involves Linux because they think that everything can be solved here. What you are doing and what other people are doing, Gal, is you're taking the operating system that we want to use every day. It's the car that we want to drive, and you are putting it along with some other options that can protect it and make your life easier in the long run. Or maybe it's not going to make your life any easier because you're still using it the same way, but it's going to make the life of the company that you're with a lot easier if something happens. And this is what people need to look at. Say, oh wow, there is a way that we can eliminate 90% of this. Let's not even say 100%.
Yeah.
90% of it. Let's do it. Let's find somebody that knows how to do this because this is something new and Joe at IT does not understand this. We need to find somebody that can help him, or we need to find somebody who understands both and do this for us. Wow. I mean, how many millions it would save?
Well,
You know,
a lot of enterprise, they already use copy on write file systems, right?
Yeah.
You need to remember, a copy on write exists. It's not new, right? And the
but
big storage companies, NetApp and EMC, with Isilon and those are copy on write file systems.
yeah,
But
but you
those cost millions,
hold it
right?
though. Hold it. Those file systems are Windows file systems, right?
Well, those are NAS and SAN. So those are like enterprise grade file systems for
And
use in a centralized manner. So those are enterprise infrastructure level storage.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
talking from the point of view of you. taking Windows gets attacked. Now you have the
Yeah.
file system that is Linux. I don't know
So
what to do with that. But what happens with those file system you're talking about that are built into the server?
so again,
I know
uh,
you're gonna be able to back it
as a
up.
son,
Yeah.
not only that, as a son, you can make it that some of the storage on your local machine is actually just linked to over fiber, right, to disks outside of it. So if you're working with VMs, it doesn't really matter which file system is storing those VM. You don't know it. So there's a lot of different ways an
Okay.
enterprise protects its users' machines. Either they're only hooked up to a VM and they're working basically remotely, or their drive is remotely hooked up. But yeah, nobody does anything to virtualize the Windows on the machine itself that they're running.
Right. It's
That is not.
in most cases, they don't. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it was amazing. I mean, even when Ron took Delta Force into that step of virtualizing it was amazing. I mean, I didn't understand it in the beginning. And every time when we had a hard disk failure, it was an ordeal.
Mhm.
Now suddenly it took 2 minutes, it's back. Wow. You know, every
Yeah.
time you upgrade the kernel, you have to reboot and it takes forever and it's do it like this. Bang. It's back. So there's a lot of things to virtualization is not new by
No.
any stretch. It's
And there is some home for not necessarily just the file system, but I'm sure, Gal, you're familiar with Proxmox.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's I mean, that's something that a lot of people. I run it at home. There's a lot of people that run it for little things. If you want to, if you have a decently powered computer, you can run like I do an Ubuntu and a Windows virtual instance on one machine, and it saves obviously space and hard drives and just a lot of nonsense, which is great.
Now remember, Proxmox is just the only thing it does, right,
Yep.
is use KVM, which is already in the kernel.
Mhm.
It's just a management interface.
But I think it's a good step in the we because I think I've actually you mentioned this what 2 or 3 weeks ago about
Yeah.
VFS, and I
Yeah.
looked it up after the show and I was reading a little bit about it, and it's fascinating, but I think it's too big of a single step. 'Cause I think still too many people are using standalone. It seems like virtualization maybe, and I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch with this in the office environment. Is virtualization really for the end users, is virtualization something
No.
that's really happening yet? No.
No.
So maybe in the office environment, the virtualization needs to start. Maybe when you've got a cubicle farm, maybe you've got one computer. You've got one computer with passing through. I mean, you can pass through video cards and whatnot. You get a big beefy gaming computer or whatever. You pass through your things. That's the first step, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, part of Google's and other companies' game streaming concept is exactly that. But I don't think anyone is going to see their computer go away and everything be virtual. I don't think it's right
not anytime
infrastructure
soon.
wise.
Not
Yeah,
anytime
I, I
soon.
I don't I don't even think it's the correct approach because there is merit for having the hardware at your fingertips. Yes, it's harder to manage in an enterprise setting, but still, you have a lot more control locally, right? So I don't think that's going away anytime soon. But
Hmm.
I
No.
think incorporating the technologies that we're using, and somehow even in something like a file system, there's still innovation to be made, right? And uh, and that innovation, it needs to find its place, provided to the user, even without their fully understanding of it, right? Providing to the user and protecting them and providing them better service as we go along. Windows is horrible when it comes to the essence. I mean, just think of how much time you invested just in driver-related issues,
Yeah.
right? If you don't, if you're not working with a hardware provider that keeps their driver constantly updated, right? You're in trouble in a Windows setting. You're stuck on an old Windows version because you can't. So you're exposed to vulnerabilities, or right, or you just struggle with finding a way to make the Windows driver work. Um, it's different in an innovative, constantly changing world if you have a system that is maintained by its community, right? So, I mean, that's the radical difference between Linux to anything else. And now with introduction of ZFS, now ZFS was never an open. It didn't start as an open source project, right? But today it is a huge, well maintained open source project with Linux being its forefront target. And there are some implementations not very well maintained for Windows, so those cannot be reliable in any way, right? Open source is only reliable when it is well maintained. It's if it's not a well maintained project, it dies. And by well maintained, it means it has backing from traditional corporations. They invest in it because they get benefits from it, and the community is benefited from it as well. So it's it's a different cycle than what Microsoft might be doing with their OS, right? But still, I mean, there's REFS from Microsoft has been discussed, I think, since 2010, and different versions of it crept up starting 2012. But somehow, while it is ready for server OSs, it is not pushed to the workstation OS, and it can probably do a lot better on that term. And it seems to me like an lack of nearsightedness, right? It's like they don't see right what's right in front of them. What's the benefit of that? And that's a shame.
Yeah.
And talking about it in a setting like this, where we have a few of technically inclined people listening in and paying interest, giving a damn, then maybe we can help spread
So,
out the word a bit more. And there are solutions. Hey, why not look at the file system for a change? Yes, it can be exciting. I know it's geeky, but it can be exciting.
exciting. See how Gal is slobbering all over the place when he talks about ZFS. All right. Well, good information, Gal.
Yeah.
Good. Very good.
So, yeah. Thanks for giving me the stage. I hope I didn't bore everyone.
I mean, they're still here. Okay. There's something else from last week that I didn't want to read because Gal wasn't here.
Oh.
Consumers are so stressed about finding the right thing to watch on their streaming services that after a few minutes scanning the options, many decide to watch something they've already seen. Revert to traditional TV, or turn the tube off altogether. As more companies jump into streaming wars, the choice overload problem could alienate customers, drive away subscribers, and limit the industry's growth. US adults typically spend a little over 7 minutes searching for something to watch on a streaming service, according to a new report from Nielsen. A quarterly consumer tracking survey focused on blah, blah. Younger adults ages 18 to 49 take between 8 and 10 minutes to browse before giving up, while older adults typically spend around 5 minutes. Overall, 21% of responders say that when they want to watch, but they don't know exactly what, they end up giving up the hunt. I mean, I see it every now and then. I get up from my chair in the office and I go and I sit in front of the TV and I look at the guide and say, I just want to watch something for a short time, something that's funny, that's light, and and you can, okay, never mind, I'm going back to work. It's it can be a problem for television and for streaming. Did you guys ever had that experience of, there's nothing there, never mind?
All the time.
Yeah.
I usually find something to watch, but I might have. What I've done is gone through the long list of stuff that's available and thought, yeah, that looks interesting. Add to watch list. Add to watch list. Or that's rubbish. Add to watch list. And now I've got such a huge watch list. It takes me ages to go through and think, oh, which one? That one looks good. That I don't know. I'm undecided now. And then I look at my watch and think, oh, it's time for
Yeah.
bed now.
But how long do you spend looking at
Quite some
searching?
time. I usually sit down for like a sort of 10 or 20-minute session and go
Okay.
through the stuff that's new and tag it. And then I've got it on my watch list to watch.
Hey, Mike.
Mike's busy, but
Oh.
I relate completely. Though I tend to do it a bit differently. I actually know pretty much what I want to watch, and I make sure that it's ready beforehand. I do a lot of watching on my phone.
Mhm.
So what I do is I sync in advance a couple of pieces of content. So and this way it's already downloaded on the phone. So I have a small set of the large set of what I want to watch. I have a small set ready for me to be watched to watch. So when it's time to watch, I just, okay, what do I have next that I haven't seen yet, and it's on my phone. But yeah, it's just another version of what's described in the article. I just spend the time of choosing and the time of watching just separately.
Well, it was an interesting
Yeah,
situation
it
to read
is.
about it and to say, oh yeah, happening to me too. I do that.
But this has just replaced channel surfing. It was called.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So it's just a different version of channel surfing. There's so much content you need to choose. Let me ask you this: the
Yeah.
last time you were in a supermarket buying, I don't know, cereal, right? How long did you stand in front of that?
I
It's the
don't.
same version of that.
Yeah, you see, I
But
don't
yeah,
go to the store. But
I
let me
know.
tell you
But
something. When Kathy goes to buy tomatoes, it takes her about 2.5 hours, and she comes back with 4 bags full. So it
and with
takes.
tomatoes, there's only 3 types, right? So I mean, in the supermarket, right? I'm not saying there are just 3 types.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's exactly it.
All
Hey,
right.
Mike. Sorry. No, actually, Nick.
Yeah, I can play backup. What's up?
No. It's not backup. You're the guy I need.
Oh,
Have you booked a place in Area 51?
no, I think it's an interesting conversation though.
Did you read the latest from the Air Force?
Yeah, they're gonna protect all their assets and
Yep.
do whatever they have to do.
Yeah.
They actually apparently did some type of briefing on it last week. There was a video posted on Twitter, and yeah, I think
Yeah.
this is pretty funny.
It is.
That's until somebody will get hurt, you know.
No, I don't think that's.
I hope it will not get that. But
Well, I mean, I don't. I mean, if you want to try to storm a military base, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
I don't really care what happens to you. I mean, I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but I mean, Go
Yeah,
storm.
they're
Go storm your. Let me just drive up to Fayetteville and storm Fort Bragg and see what happens to me.
Mhm.
I'll be shot and killed. I mean, it's not really all that complicated.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
but then
ridiculous.
again, uh, in one way it's ridiculous, in the other way it's ooh, this can be interesting.
I think you know what? I'll be very interested watching all the live streams from people's periscopes when they're running up to the gates and the Air Force is shooting at them. I'll be looking forward to that. I mean, it's crazy. Well, I'll tell
It
you
is.
this: the organizers of this made a grave mistake. They promoted it way too early, and they've made a big mistake in that regard. If this would have popped up 2 weeks before the event, the government would have had to scram to try to do something. But it's still like 2 months,
Yeah,
3 months away.
but then you won't get the participation that
You
that
won't get the
seems to be.
participation either. It's no people aren't don't plan stuff 3 months in millennials don't plan stuff 3 months in advance.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think it's just too early. Like it's because it's hot right now and everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
But then in 2 weeks it'll be gone.
Probably.
I really I'm with Nick. I don't think it'll ever materialize. I think
No,
this is
there'll be a couple
eh.
thousand people that show up. They'll stand there, the gates will be locked.
You can't
Well,
even get to the gates.
my son's telling me that the the hotel closest to Area 51 is currently fully booked for that day.
Well, I'm sure it is. Again, you have a couple morons to show up. You're gonna, you know.
It's probably all by media.
No,
Probably.
fake news. Oh, this hotel's booked. It's me and a bunch of other reporters.
But still, that's not fake news. That's reality, right? But they
Oh
definitely have the
boy.
money. So
All right, we were talking about Ransom, and here's another one. Cloud hosting provider InSync, it's INSYNQ, says
The
it
boy
was
band?
hit. What?
The boy band from the 90s, NSYNC? They're my favorite.
Says it was hit with a ransomware attack that shut down its network and left customers unable to access their accounting data for the past 3 days. This is a service that hosts QuickBooks for
Ouch.
companies. Unfortunately for InSync, the company appears to be turning a deaf ear to the increasingly anxious cries from its users for more information about the incident. This information comes from Krebs on security. It says Gig Harbor, Washington-based InSync specializes in providing cloud-based QuickBooks accounting software and services. In a statement posted to its status page, InSync said it experienced a ransom attack on July 16th and took its network offline in a bid to contain the spread of the malware. The attack impacted data belonging to certain InSync clients, rendering such data inaccessible. As soon as InSync discovered the attack, InSync took steps to contain it. This included turning off some servers in the InSync environment. They also said that it has engaged outside cybersecurity assistance and to determine whether any customer data was accessed without authorization. But that so far, it has no estimate for when those files might be available again to customers.
oh boy.
And this is here you go. They're finding, if you have a computer and you're running your company on your computer and you host it locally, chances that you're going to be attacked just for that are zilch. But here you go to a farm that hosts all these. And for companies, that company InSync is going to pay a lot of money to recover from this because they have all these customers. I mean, if they don't, they're out of business.
Oh, they're not just out of business. I mean,
And they get sued. Yeah.
Oh, they probably find themselves in a very serious lawsuit. Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So At this point, you kind of say, well, why didn't they use ZFS?
Well, it's not just ZFS. I'm pretty sure they're using some sort of
I sure hope so. I mean,
yeah.
I
It's
keep thinking about this when it comes to my own company, and everything now is away on a server out there.
right.
And I told Ron when we started, I said, Ron, this is great. They do backups and everything. I can't trust it.
I agree.
So there's a server right here that we back up every night.
Right.
And it has to be done like that. You have to have something locally. So if you're putting your QBB file out there in the cloud, have it also locally. I mean, this is your livelihood. This is how you make your money.
But Amnon,
Yeah.
we have made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
We have told people that trust cloud providers, trust things in the cloud, trust this, trust that, and
Not trust completely.
well, it doesn't matter though, Guy. You're talking about
Yeah.
non-techie people. They think, oh, well, I know it's pretty risky to keep my QuickBooks file on my computer, so I'm going to pay some guy this. It's probably not cheap. It's probably a couple $100 a month to do the
Easy.
storage and all of my
Yeah.
QuickBooks stuff. Then it turns out he's not doing what he needs to be doing with his data, so you're screwed anyway. You probably would have
Oh,
been
that's
better off having
something
it
else. Yeah.
locally.
Yeah.
So it's like what it's a terrible situation because we've told everybody, you know, cloud provider, cloud provider, cloud provider. And then it turns out some of these cloud providers aren't even doing what the hell they need to be doing.
Yep.
Well, like with everything, right? Every product or service, the big guy, the known guy, the big brand will probably be a lot better
Yeah.
at giving you that than the smaller guy. So you need with the smaller guy, you need to actually listen to every word they say and see where the caveats are. But yeah, it's cloud computing is like anything else. When you trust your stuff with somebody else, you need to understand what they're doing, and not most of them are not are completely opaque, especially the big guys. They're completely opaque. So yeah, I'm no longer. By the way, I used to be a huge advocate of cloud computing, right? And suddenly, for me as a small consumer, cloud computing makes less and less and less sense than it used to when it started. When it started, it was the thing that I looked for. Today, because the cloud computing environment is so focused on enterprise and so focused on bringing business in, right? That I don't know. I no longer think cloud computing is the safest place for the consumer, because the consumer suddenly is a small fish, is less of an interest to the big company.
Well, let me challenge you, Gal. If you're just coming to this realization, everybody else is 5 to 8 years behind you,
I
which is a
agree. I
huge
know.
problem. It's like that. It's like by the time that by the time we figure out as the tech nerds, we figure out we've made the mistake. Everybody's like, "Hey, did you hear about this Google thing?" And they they back up all your data online. And
Yeah,
it's like, oh, damn! Like
I know.
Yeah.
we're screwed. And
Big
so
time.
we've led them down a not purposely,
Oh,
of
we
course, but it's
exactly.
like
We went
yeah,
through that same road, but yeah,
yeah, and they're super far behind us, and it's like, oh, now they're interested. Great. Now we need to tell them, no, it was a mistake.
I I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's always needs to be. I think let me retract so I'll be clear about my position. I still think cloud computing is huge. It's amazing.
Yeah,
And the things that you can do with it, but it cannot be the only solution,
I would agree.
right? It is one of the strongest assets an IT organization can have, but it cannot replace the IT organization. It's just, and it's not me being sort of in the IT business, right? Protecting my chair. It's more about understanding when you put all of your eggs in one basket, right? You would never do that in any other environment. So why do it here?
Because
So that's
Google and Apple and Microsoft have been comforting and have been they've said they're trust us. Well, I don't know. Why would you not trust them? If you're a non-techie person, why would you not trust them?
Right. That's
I mean,
the
I think
problem.
about this. I've got my iPhone backed up. I pay 99 cents a month for the additional storage, so my iPhone is constantly backed up on iCloud. Now, I don't back up everything, but if I ran over my phone today with my car, I could go to well, there's no Apple Store in Wilmington, unfortunately, but I could go to a Walmart or Target, buy a brand new iPhone, and ideally log into my iCloud account. And since this thing backs up all the time, I would be missing probably a couple of text messages and be good. But that is the backup for my phone. What happens if I do that and Apple goes, "Oh, your backup, something's wrong. It's not there." Well,
Mhm.
now what the hell am I gonna do? Literally all of my data is gone. Why would I not trust Apple? Give me a reason why.
well, I don't think you should not trust Apple, but uh,
Until they screw me, I don't have any reason not to trust them. That's the unfortunate reality of a lot of this stuff
Well,
is
you see, you're no, that's the wrong statement.
it's the
No.
wrong statement, but it's the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
I pay them 99 cents a month, and I hope that my data's there because that's what they say. They build it into their damn phone.
Yeah.
But when it's not, what am I gonna do? Complain about it on Twitter, and that's gonna be the end. My data's still gone.
Can you not uh back up? And again, I'm
I mean,
sorry
I
for
could, but
the
I just don't
ignorance.
care.
Can you not back it up to two different places?
I could put it on iTunes, but it's just a pain in the ass, and I don't wanna
No,
deal with
no,
it.
an automatic thing. I mean, if
Oh,
you
no.
have,
No, not with the iPhone.
you couldn't.
No, they've
with
got
an Android, you're a bit closer to that. But even with an Android, it's not complete.
but
I
the
mean,
question
Coming.
is how much trouble is it worth before there's a problem? And that's constantly that is the
Well, the answer is easy. How much is your data worth to you?
I
yeah.
don't how much is it worth right now when I think it's backed up, or how much is
To
it worth
you.
what but
No,
how
how
much is it
much
worth?
it is worth when it's going to be lost? Yeah.
That's the problem. Right now, it's not worth anything because I can see it until it's gone, and then it's worth the world. I mean,
Well,
it sucks.
I mean, look, we trust banks, right? Cloud
Well,
computing
yeah,
isn't new. We
yeah.
trust banks. We trust a third-party institution with our money. Okay, so yes, you can trust a third-party institution with your data as well, and it's as valuable, if not, I don't know, not more. The difference between data lost and money lost is money can be replaced with other money, right? And FDIC insured banks and all of that is a system to provide you a lot more trust in the system.
Security. To feel
Security.
secure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. More security. Right. With data, Mike hosts the crypto culture show. They talk about cryptocurrency, but cryptocurrency, right, is never insured. So if you want to keep it safe, you need to understand the security behind the way it's being kept safe, whether you're doing it with a third party solution or you're doing it with some software that you're running locally on your machines or an encrypted USB key. It's the same thing with your data. It's just with data, it's usually a pain because it's a lot, right? And there's different types and different types of redundancy and reliability and performance. And you need it to be reachable, but then you need it also to be safe. It's and once the data is gone, nobody can replace it. Even if it's insured, somebody can pay you money for losing it, but nobody can replace it. So you need to think about what is being done with your data. Hey, look at the whole privacy kerfuffle with the FaceApp, right? Everybody's talking about that. The
Yeah.
best thing that happened there, right? Because I don't think there's any any difference in that app to any other app. The best thing that happened there is people are starting to talk about it again. Maybe somebody who's listening will actually understand what they need to do about the privacy. Same thing with data. Data is equivalent to privacy. You need to protect it. You need to make sure that it's not getting out there, and you need to make sure that it's not being lost.
It's easier said than done making sure.
Oh
Making
yeah, of course.
sure you can't. Try to make sure is the better way of putting it, because you cannot make sure. There is no way for you
You
to make
can
sure
make
with it.
well, you can do the best in understanding, first of all,
Okay.
understand the system, right? Understand the limitations and understand what you can do about it. That's true for anything, right?
Yeah.
With data, it has become probably the most important topic that nobody does,
True.
right? So
So the only way for you to make sure is to also have it yourself.
yeah.
And talking about Face Up, uh, it was all negative talk this week about
Explain.
it,
Hold
right?
on. You need to. I'm sure not everybody knows what Face Up is.
Okay,
and
you
why.
you explain, because you're better at these apps than I am.
So it's this app that it's been out for a while, but it's in the last couple of weeks. It's you see it all over social media. It's this app that will, um, I'll say, do a hell of a job with doing different things with your face. The popular one is the one that makes you look older. And for somebody like me who's 22, you put this app on, you're like, holy shit, what the hell's going on here? It's pretty wild, but there's obviously a lot of privacy concerns. And I mean, really, if you want to talk about, it's always funny because people want to complain. God, I think you'll agree with me on this. Everybody wants to bitch and complain about, oh, my privacy this and oh, my privacy that. Yet they're going to install this face app, and this app is going to take like a 1200 DPI picture of your face and do all this augmented reality to it. And you you are giving up all of it. Yeah, I mean, you are inviting them into your house. It's the same thing with the Echo and everything else. And then you're going to complain about privacy. Um, I fortunately did not install the app because I understand that all these apps do is they take your picture and it's going into some database somewhere, probably something with the NSA or one of these other organizations. Because I mean, it's going on over in the UK right now. They've got their um, the police department in or whatever department is in the UK. They do a lot of facial recognition. They've got surveillance systems set up all throughout different cities. Yeah, and I think London is one of the big ones. They're doing all this facial recognition, but it's not working. Something like 4 and 5 people that are identified by the system as potential criminals, as in are wanted for something, have unpaid tickets or whatever, are not. It's 80. The system is 80% inaccurate, and it's inaccurate because it doesn't have enough data. But these apps like Face App and 81%. Yeah, so exactly. So that's what we're talking about. So these apps are great for that because you are giving them the highest resolution, most perfect image of your face, of your facial structure, of everything. And it's a huge privacy. But we're doing it right now. We're streaming all of our data to Google and all these other CDNs. I mean, if they want to do something with our data, they can. And it's just funny to watch it all play out.
Well, specifically with Face App, and I haven't checked all the details as of late, but in the past, and I don't know if it's still the case, their privacy was like the original Facebook privacy statement, where everything you put through our system is going to remain ours, and we can do whatever we want with it, including advertising, including.
Mhm.
So the privacy statement itself, so even the intention that was publicly exposed was completely wrong. And in technology today, with viral exposure and all of that, I find it, I would say, tiring to hear, oh my God, their privacy is so wrong. Don't install it. Right? Just don't install it. Why did you install it in the first place? So that's one. But that's that's what I liked about the conversation. People suddenly are again talking about what they should expose and what they not. And to tell the truth, the fact that everything is hidden behind legal jargon and a long user acceptance license is problematic. And I think it's problematic not because the way the applications are doing it, but because they're all hosted on this behemoth of machine called an app store, right? Or a Play Store. It depends on the platform you are. Those stores should be the ones that probably reflect the privacy of these apps the best. The application developer is paying a fee to host the application there. That fee should go into legal scrutiny, checking every aspect of that application, and not just just pay me some money and you can host it here. So I would definitely blame the infrastructure of the applications, but they will never do a thing because then they'll lose money. So we're back to that. The other part that I find really interesting is the company itself is responsive to user comments. And every comment that was done there, the main issue there, they are in the news and not other applications, is because they are a Russian developer house, right? And what I understood was that, and I don't know if that started the viral, the viral privacy thing or not, was that an American politician called for an investigation into the company. And that's just because they're Russian.
Oh my God, no!
Yeah, the Russians got our data.
Yeah, did you read? I mean, they double and triple the amount of downloads since Schumer called for investigation. Jeez.
So one, right? Somebody talked with an old guy who doesn't understand technology and told him that his face is going to Russia, and he got scared. Oh my God, the Russians got my face.
Yeah.
But he'll eat donuts with Vladimir Putin, which is very interesting.
What is going on, right? Just because I mean, I feel sorry for this Russian software house because I've never heard about them up until this incident. Okay, and I didn't install their app, and I'm not too concerned about that because I don't play those games with my. I do have Facebook. They're doing exactly the same.
Yeah,
They use,
I'm gonna take a picture of you with my face app, and then you're screwed anyway because you have no
exactly.
you have no choice. I'm stealing your data.
Oh, I'm gonna sue you and face up.
Yeah.
So it's like so that's what I said. The only good thing about it that came out was the conversation about it. I don't think the software house is evil. I don't think they're selling the data. And not only that, is the moment critique came out, and they have a long history of being criticized because culture-wise, they are completely different than the US. And so they did, a couple of years ago, they did a blackface filter, I heard, right? And that didn't go well with the US customers and created enough people, so they removed it. They are attentive to their user base. They want to succeed. Like any other company, they don't really do it for stealing your data. Usually those privacy statements, they're put there so it'll be easier on them to manage. And then when somebody notices, they said, "Oh, we did a mistake. That we shouldn't have done that," and they change it. And it seems like this company is responsive, is doing that, right? So it's just another tech company doing a lot of legal mistakes, right? That they out of lack of understanding. These are techies. So
and who knows? I mean, it may be that after they saw it on the news, what he said, they sat down in the office and say, "Oh, you mean we have all this info that we can actually make money from? We didn't even know."
Oh,
no, their response was exactly, "We do not keep that because we don't care about that."
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
Think
no,
about the
no.
infrastructure just to store that. We just talk about storage and how complex it is, right? Think about the infrastructure. They keep stuff short term just to analyze when things break. That's what every tech company does.
Yeah.
Keeping more than that, right, becomes a hassle. Not everyone are Google. Not everyone built the infrastructure first, right, and then started making use of it and selling out the metadata outside.
Mhm.
And yeah, so definitely, definitely, it was that's what I said. It's like it's good that we talked about it. It's good that everybody's talking about it. FaceApp specifically is not the evil person here, right? It's not the Satan. They're just caught in the crossfire in this specific situation. I'm not saying they're angels either, right?
Who knows?
Don't Let's put it this way: don't install an app when it becomes viral. Don't remove the app when talking about it becomes viral. Do it because you understand why you installed it. Do it because you understand why you're removing it. Right? It's like,
That's good advice, but
yeah.
oh, yeah. All right. Nick, you ready to do specials?
Yeah, we got a quick specials here. Let's go through those. I do have a I want to talk to Gal about something towards the end about Mastodon. So
Write it down
before we,
so you won't
I've got
forget.
it. I've got it.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Here is our specials.
When you have a problem, you always call the gangsters. Control Delete. All right, let's start off. This is Spencer's format of specials, which he seems to like more than the ones that we were doing previously. So we'll stick with these for the time being.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some laptops. Best Buy's got a Dell Inspiron 2-in-1 with an i5, 8 GB of RAM, and a 256 GB SSD. That's on sale for just $680. It's you save $150 on that. Here's a Lenovo IdeaPad with a Ryzen 5, AMD's new line of processors. $399 for that. Unfortunately, it doesn't have an SSD, so it's not the fastest computer in the world. But you could do a pretty probably for the price of $399. You can probably do a pretty inexpensive upgrade and get a half a terabyte or terabyte SSD in there for maybe $200. So check that out. That's at Office Depot. And at Staples, an HP Pavilion. It's got a 15.6-inch screen, 160 GB Optane drive, as well as 8 GB of DDR4 RAM and an i7 processor for $629.99. Let's take a look at desktops and all-in-ones. This is the Dell Inspiron. They've kept these Dell Inspirons have looked the same for 10 years now. The
Yep.
same black. I've got 2 of them here. This my home servers are these old Dell Inspirons. Core i7, 12 GB of memory, 256 GB solid state drive for $749.99. You need more storage, just pop a terabyte hard drive in there. There is expansion space for that. Here is an iBuy Power sold at Office Depot. It's got 8 GB of memory. Unfortunately, it's only got a 1 TB hard drive, so I'd highly recommend you put a boot drive in here for that. But for $719.99, that's a pretty good price. And the SSDs again are so inexpensive. It's got an NVIDIA GTX 1650 graphics card in it, and again, it's got a Core i5 processor. So pretty good deal there over at Office Depot. And at Staples, an all-in-one HP 23.8-inch touchscreen, i3, 8 GB of memory, 256 GB SSD in that for $579.99. It comes with your keyboard and your mouse, and really, it's a good small POS machine if you're in small business or something like that. A lot easier to use and maintain and manage. Tablets, these are kind of all-in-one things that flip around. The Lenovo Yoga Book C930 is a flip around, so you can collapse it on itself and use the touchscreen part of it. i5, 4 GB of memory, $799.99. I know a lot of people like those. Here's the Microsoft Surface, one of their. This is their. This is the one with the M3 processor in it, and it's on sale for $699. You save $260 on that. they're not, these Microsofts are a little expensive, but if you like the Surface, that's kind of the price you're going to have to pay for that. And then finally, here in the tablet section at Staples, an HP Pavilion X360, real original name with that. A 2-in-1. It's got 8 GB of memory, a 256 GB SSD, and it is touchscreen. You can get that for $599.99. Save $130 on that. A couple of gaming things available across the marketplaces. And this is a little expensive, but if somebody's interested, this is the GTX 2080, which is one of the I think it's one of the top 5 GPUs on the market right now. The GPU, just the graphics card, is $720. So it's a little pricey. It's more expensive than that entire gaming rig that we just looked at. But if you want this, it's the 2080 XC, the 8 GB version, and that's at Best Buy for $720. Save $130 on that. Good luck finding it. These cards are constantly.
And it's PCI Express 3.0, not.
There you go. Say
Yeah, and they're constantly out of stock, not because of gaming, but because of cryptocurrency mining, right?
I would maybe not anymore. I don't think, because they've found that these cards really aren't that good for. They're not that efficient. They've got those other XFC miners or whatever they're called that are much better for mining.
Okay.
So that's at Best Buy. You can check that out. Here's a cool MSI gaming monitor, and it's good for gaming. But if you do photo or video editing, it'd be good for that too. They've got 2 versions: a 24-inch, which is on sale for 24 inches on sale for $189, and they've also got a 27-inch curved version of the same monitor for $249. Save 60 on the 24, 50 on the 27-inch. That is available at Office Max.
Now,
Storage.
Full HD is 180p, right?
Yes, it's a 1080p screen on that. So, but it does have G-Sync, which is very cool. So it'll work well with that. We talk about storage. It's incredible to look at this. A Seagate 5 terabyte external hard drive for $109. So, with some tax on that, under $130, you've got 5 terabytes of portable storage. Pretty amazing. A couple of small little flash drives, depending on the size you need. Those are available at Office Max. They've got them in 32, 64, or 128. You can check those out at Office Max, Office Depot. And then at Best Buy, if maybe you buy that gaming machine that was $719, you can pick up this Samsung 860 Evo 1 terabyte SSD to put your boot drive, and maybe a couple of the games that you constantly play on this. So for $900, you've got a pretty good computer with those two combined. Let's move out of storage to a couple of accessories. Here's a Turtle Beach gaming headset. Turtle Beach has been known to make really good headsets. I've had probably 3 or 4 of them on sale for $89.99. Save $10 on that. And at Staples, if you are in the market for a new router or some type of extender system or anything, all Netgear routers and all of their Wi-Fi products are 25% off, and for the routers that are priced above $180, which a lot of the higher end ones are. So if you're looking for something network wise, you might be wise to go check out Staples over the next week and save yourself a couple bucks on that. Let's take a look at monitors and multimedia. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. This is a 49-inch. It's huge. A 49-inch LED curved FreeSync monitor at Best Buy. It's $1,000, and the monitor's cool. Windows does such a poor job with window management on large devices. This seems like it would be very inefficient to use.
There's very simple tools to do that, to manage it.
We need to talk about
better.
that. Maybe I don't know if we have time today, but at some point, because the monitors like this are becoming more and more popular. But because I've got 4 monitors right now, but it's and Windows management does a very good job with separate monitors. Not so much with these. You have to install. There's a couple tools, screen desktop manager, whatever it's called. So $1,000, it's $100 off if you want a 49-inch curved. I don't know what the aspect ratio on this is.
It is ridiculous. Yeah,
but it's a very large monitor. If you're looking
it
for
looks
something,
like it's 3 monitors side by side, aspect wise.
it's
I would say.
It's gotta be pretty close to that, so,
Yeah.
you can check that out. It's the, Samsung
G9.
CHG9, which is which is not the most ideal. I'm trying to see if there's an aspect ratio listed for it. It's, 32:9. How about that? I've never heard of that aspect ratio before. But if you're looking for just a regular monitor, HP's got a 32-inch IPS LED monitor at Staples. Just a regular monitor, not a bad price on that. All right, printers and scanners. A Canon Pixima wireless all-in-one. It doesn't have a fax machine for $100 at Best Buy. The Epson Expression XP 6100 is available at Office Max for $89. Save 60 on that. And if you're looking for something maybe for home office use or a small business, here's the brother. It's the multifunction L2710DW. Means it's wireless and it's a mono laser printer, and it's $140. So it's a cool little piece of equipment over there. And we talk about home security. Why don't you just put a Facebook portal in your house if you don't, if you're not, if you're, you're so concerned about privacy? For $200, you can talk to people with Facebook portal, and it's also got the A word support. So you can go ahead and use that
Yeah,
service
I like
for.
And
I
it
don't
has
want to say it.
Alexa built in.
Well, yeah, well, that's exactly what I was trying to not say, but you can get that for $200. At all voice assistants at Office Depot are on discount. Most of the major ones are, so you can check that out. And finally, how about just a regular padlock? This is just a regular master lock combination padlock for $5 at
You
Staples.
save $1.
Yeah, so I mean, there you
Yeah.
go. Not
Mhm.
everything has to be smart, so you can go
Yeah.
ahead and get one of those at Staples. And on Walmart, kind of a mishmash of stuff. Here's a TLC, which is one of Walmart's brands of television, 720p. It's got a Roku smart screen or Roku built into it. It's a smart TV. It's $118. It's on rollback currently at Best Buy. This is interesting. I didn't realize Lenovo was in the Chromebook market. This is a pretty stylish looking machine. I'm not going to read the model number, but it's a Lenovo Chromebook S330, 14-inch screen. It's got a kind of like an ARM-based CPU and 4 GB of memory. $169 on that. Not a terrible price. The Roku Premiere, their 4K HDR streaming device. I can't believe how low these prices are on this. $40 for that. When I bought my Roku, it was like $100, and that's the Roku 3. They used to be super expensive. They've come way down on price. Here's a Spectre 50-inch. I don't know whose brand that is. It may be a local brand, or an in-house brand.
Scepter.
1080p Scepter. Yeah, is that
I
who
don't
is
know,
that?
but that's what we have in the bedroom.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna say maybe it's Vizio's name, uh,
It's
not name brand or one of
uh,
them,
maybe.
but, you can check that out. 50-inch 1080p, $179. The price is practically cut in half, so it's a good price on that. Apple EarPods. This isn't a sale, but I didn't realize how inexpensive they were. You can get the latest model for $179, which I might have to go over and pick one of those up today. It's a pretty good price for those. The Dell Inspiron laptop, it's got an i5 15.6-inch screen, an AMD Ryzen 5, and it's got one of their AMD's Vega video cards in it for $369.99. Pretty decent price on that as well. Here's the Acer Swift 3 15.6-inch laptop. It's got an 8th generation Core i3 processor, or excuse me, i5 processor in it with 8 GB of memory, 256 GB SSD, and a GeForce MX 150. Neat little laptop from Acer, $699 for that. And finally, the Fitbit. They've got a Fitbit 3 on sale, which is an activity tracker. It does do on most phones, at least it'll do text alerts and very basic smartwatch functionality. It'll vibrate and ping you when you get a text message or something like that. $119.95. And that is a quick rundown of specials this week.
Why, thank you, Nick.
Absolutely. And we'll be doing those most weeks until I don't
Until
think you
Spence
mentioned
gets
Spence is now he's officially out of town.
He's already working.
He's in
I
Moose
talked to him
Town,
yesterday. He said it was 56.
Well,
So that's warm. it's gonna get colder
Probably.
because it's going to go north, right? He's not. Is he in his final destination right now?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so.
He's already working. Yeah.
Okay.
He's actually, by the way, if people are wondering, there is a Facebook page that he keeps people up to date on. It's a private group, and you can request access to it. I'll post the link in the chat. It's called the Moose Chronicles.
Yeah.
Is the name of it. So if you're interested in that, I'll post a link, and he posts pictures of things that he's working on, and pretty neat.
Mhm.
So
All right.
specials.
So you wanted to talk to Gal about something.
Yeah, Gal, I've got a quick question for you.
Sure.
So, and this is something that is relevant. So, Mastodon, we've talked a lot about Mastodon in the past couple of weeks. So, I've got a friend here that has just sent me a link to. He's got his own Mastodon instance. It's new. It's only got 3 people on it, and I think what a lot of people are probably struggling with if they're just starting out on Mastodon is, do I have to make an account on every
No.
instance? No, but there are some benefits of making an account on every instance. So
Maybe.
what is the best way? Right now, I've got an account on every instance I'm part of, and I'm thinking that's maybe not the best thing to do, but with federation and in the way that some services lay out their timelines, it's not always easy to view other Mastodon instances from, for example, Gab. So
Well,
what would you recommend? What's the best way to go here?
the way to create a timeline is by following other people
Correct.
or not people, other accounts,
Mhm.
right? And it really doesn't matter where that account is. The moment you are following it, your instance, the instance that you were hosted on, should be able to pull that stream.
Mhm.
Um, I think you should. So the number of account that you should have should match the way you want to be identified to the network. So
Mhm.
if you want your Gab interactions, right, to stream to I don't know, your radio ham identity as well, then you can just use your radio ham identity and interact with Gab. Make
Yeah.
that account follow all the Gab content that you want to follow.
Mhm.
Um, the only difference I would think about, um, an aspect you probably don't get. I think instances have something called a public stream,
Yes.
and in an account on a different instance, you'll probably need to register to it intentionally somehow. I just don't know how. I've never dived that deep into it. Uh, Even the instance that I host is very, very rudimentary because it's not a Mastodon instance, which I just never bothered to host. I host it through Nextcloud, which is a cloud storage solution
Mhm.
that also has a social aspect to it. So this way you can keep your identity and you can use social interactions to share data very easily, similar to Google Drive or Dropbox, all of those, just with an easy way of sharing across different servers that host the same type of service. So, and that's my hookup to Mastodon. The only Mastodon account that I follow right now. I wonder. I remember we were doing a test, and I was following your account. Let me
You
see.
were following my No Agenda social account because
Right.
Gab has for I don't know if they're ever going to. They don't believe they're actually gonna fully federate.
I see. So they're just using Mastodon as a platform, but they're not federated.
I I don't they've done so much editing to Mastodon, I don't think so. That's what I think the problem is they've done a lot of,
Do you need a special client to?
no, you can use a Mastodon client, but I can't at somebody out of I've had problems adding somebody out of my instance on other services. And I can't look you up either, which is a problem. I can on other services. I'm gonna tweet this guy who just created this instance, who's a friend of mine. I'm gonna tweet him from or I'm gonna toot him from my No Agenda account, and it'll work because they're just using pretty much stock Mastodon.
Well, that's why I think this is one of the reasons why this isn't widespread yet.
Yeah, it's
The
confusing as
distributed,
hell.
yeah, the distributed social networking isn't there yet when it comes to clear concepts of usage, right? People are using Facebook because of two reasons. And I'm talking the first reason, and this is an old thing, is it was simple at the beginning, right? And the second reason, and that's the most important one actually, is all their friends are already there. Uh, a social network is as good as the interactions there are in, right? Mastodon itself, they don't create any content that will cause you to join. Even Gab doesn't do it unless you are following somebody specifically who's using Gab as the platform where they express themselves. So the technology is already there, the concepts aren't clear, the usability isn't polished yet. And so, yeah, I agree. We're still a step away in having social networking being private, and private as in terms of privacy, not as in terms of privately owned uh, and um, and distributed.
So
From what you're telling me, Gab seems to be not. Are you able to pull anything from Gab
from
on your?
from another network,
Yeah,
let me
follow someone in Gab
I'm gonna try to follow
from another
myself.
network.
Nick@gab.com. Yeah, I can see myself from outside the network, it appears.
So there is federation.
Yeah, but I can't see in. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Well,
I can't see out, but I can see in.
okay. So if you
I just
added
ping
yourself,
myself.
right?
I think I can follow myself from outside of the network. Let's see.
So maybe once you follow outside of the network, you can also follow inside from that network. So a connection needs to be made first,
Here's
right?
what's
And
weird.
it's like
I f
firewall.
I added I added myself as in wrote myself a note and followed myself, but I don't see it inside of Gab. I see it from outside, but I don't see it from inside the network.
It's Nick, you're there. I'm telling you. Don't worry about it.
No, it's not that I know I'm there. It's just it's a question of, am I even a real person at this point? I don't know. Um, it's weird. I can see it myself, Gal, but I don't see any images. None of the stuff loads with it. I think they're just not fully federating,
Okay. So
which sucks. But I
no,
guess
no, hold on. So I am on my instance,
yep,
and I have a direct message from you,
but not from
right?
Gab.
And I go there and I go to your profile. This is the No Agenda Social.
Yes, which is a
So
fully federated
and
Mastodon
then
instance.
then I see failed to load account details.
That shouldn't be.
Oh, that's on my side. It's
Yeah.
trying to like look at your account locally for me. So that's probably something in the federation settings that isn't fully fleshed out there.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when I go to someone. Yeah, that actually works. I wonder. I think it's something to do with the way the instances set that out. That's weird. Yeah, but this specific issue might be because of the way No Agenda Social is set up, and not necessarily by with the way Gab is set. Uh, can you add me from your Gab account?
No, I cannot. We tried this a couple weeks ago. I cannot.
Interesting.
Yeah. So part of the problem that I think I'm running into, and I think a lot of other people are probably as well, is there's there's just not a good way to manage all of this yet. I've got a couple of clients installed. I've got one on the Windows desktop called The Desk, but it's a pain in the ass and doesn't work. I can see Amnon just gabbed on
Yeah.
Gab about us talking about this. Um, the mobile app, I installed one. It's great. It's called Tootly, but for some reason now I'm not getting notifications. I've already uninstalled the app. I'm still not getting notifications, and without notifications, it's just annoying. This whole
Gi
process has been very frustrating.
I think I would give him some time because, I mean,
But it's not
remember,
ju but it's not I'm not talking about just Gab. This is just issues with Mastodon in terms of, like, why is this app not giving me notifications across my networks?
maybe you need to use a different one. Maybe
Well, I
that.
understand, but I like this app, and it did work for a period of time, and now all of a sudden it has stopped. Why has
Oh,
it stopped?
okay. No, if
And
it
you're sure it's not uh, an iPhone setting for
Yeah, no, the
notification of the
notifications
app?
are on. It's on,
Yeah,
fully on.
interesting.
So it's just kind of finicky things like that become annoying, is what it is.
so you're
Well,
not
So
you're not getting any notifications from
no, not on that
anything.
not on this app. No, correct.
It'll
So
be interesting to install another app and just see before you
oh, I
start
probably I
fooling.
probably would. The reason I switched from the original app I was using is because I was sporadically getting notifications, which was a problem. Maybe there's an update. I should probably I have 90
Yeah,
app updates.
yeah,
I should
that's a
probably
good
do that.
point. Yeah.
So I think, and I think I was kind of already here, but Gal has kind of has showed me this. But this is the way if I were handling this, if I was starting fresh today, I think what I would do is what Gal said, and what I've kind of done is if you've got a niche community, for example, I'm in a ham radio community. I don't want to be necessarily identified as Nick, the political guy in that community, because it's just not really relevant. I have created my own. I've created an instance located in their Mastodon instance. So my username over there is KD2KPL, which is identifying my call sign, separate from everything else. Then I've got my No Agenda Social, which is a one I use everywhere else, and then I've got my Gab. I've got 3 different instances, but it's a pain in the ass to manage and maintain. So there we are.
um,
Oh,
I mean, in a way, it's a pain in the ass. In the other way, is that's how you keep yourself private.
Yeah, no,
There's no reason
absolutely.
that Big Craig will be needs to be identified the same way all over the network.
No,
I mean,
but
if you
the
want to send a picture to Mama, right? It doesn't need to be linked to your right wing opinion stream. And
and my Nazi blog over on Gab, yes.
uh, yeah, you Nazis! I tell you.
Yeah, all my pictures of Greenville on Wednesday are all over there. Um, so it's just interesting. It's just interesting to
all
see how
right.
this is all
But
playing out. 'Cause
kid, let us know next week what happened.
yeah, we'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Here,
need to figure it out. It's not there yet. I agree.
yeah.
We hope it will
All
be.
right. Here is something that would interest a lot of people. Do not pay a free chatbot that offers AI powered legal counsel has a new service called Free Trial Card that will help you cancel free trials before you get charged. The free trial card is a virtual credit card you can use to sign up for free trials of any service anonymously instead of using your real credit card. When the free trial period ends, the card automatically declines to be charged, thus ending your free trial. You don't have to remember to cancel anything. If you want, the app will also send an actual legal notice of cancellation to the service. The Do Not Pay app will send you an email when you sign up for a service and another when your trial ends, a way of nudging you with a reminder that if you want to convert your trial into a paid subscription, you need to update your payment info and hand over your actual credit card number. Mike, Mike not here?
Yes.
Oh, does this actually have any has teeth
Depends
to
on the offer. If they say you cancel by a certain time, if it cancels by a certain time, then yes, it has teeth. If you give them a credit card saying that I agree to be charged if I don't notify you, and all it does is decline the charge, now you're obtaining funds under false pretense.
Okay. So to just ignore it. So I guess if you tell the app to send a legal notice, that'll be fine.
As long as you comply with the terms and
Yeah.
conditions of the offer, then you should be fine. If all it's doing is serving as a reminder app, that's perfectly fine. If it's going to all be anonymous and they can't find you, what difference does it make?
That's true too. That's another
I
point.
don't
Yeah.
I don't believe it
Good.
operates that way because stuff tends to come around and bite you in the butt when you least
Yeah.
expect.
All right. So that's called the free trial card.
Where do you get it?
It's free trial card. I guess they don't have a link or anything. I guess you need to Google free trial card. It's from Do Not Pay. Actually, it's that service that offers AI powered legal counsel. Talk to the box.
Well, searching free trial card comes up with a Wired article about free trial card, so that's interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Um, here's something else that people should know about. Starting in Firefox 70, Mozilla aims to have the browser report when any of your saved logins were found in data breaches.
I think they already do that, no?
No, you have to go check. It doesn't do it automatically. This will check your I mean, the only problem I see with this is that they keep on looking at all your like they know all your saved logins.
Well, they're talking
About that.
they've introduced password manager.
Yeah.
Firefox, they introduced a password manager that can be used outside of Firefox as well.
Oh.
So Mozilla.
Okay. This
I think they're talking about tying this in, but I thought they already did that.
They said this will be done through their partnership with the Have I Been Pawned data breach site.
Yeah.
They're slowly integrating their independent Firefox Monitor service and the new Firefox Lockwise password manager. That's the one
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Directly into Firefox. They're also considering premium services based around these features in the future. As part of this integration, Firefox will scan the saved login names and password and see if they were exposed in a data breach listed on Have I Been Pawned. If
Yeah.
one is found, Firefox will alert the user and prompt them to change their password. That's nice. You don't need to go
It's-
look and all that.
It's nice, but I don't know. I'm really uncomfortable with
Yeah,
this
I know.
idea. Yeah.
This new feature will only work, though, for data breaches that expose password and when the password was saved prior to an associated data breach, obviously. So, yeah, if it's just your email that is in there, I mean, that can happen all the time. It's meaningless.
Yeah. And it's probably time for Firefox now to be breached.
Yeah, right. They're,
And
they're asking
that's
for it.
my
They're
that's my
asking for it.
that's what I'm uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
I mean, have I been pawned is a very interesting service, but it also means that you need to go to Have I Been Pawned
Mhm.
and search for your email. As long as you're searching for your email, that's great.
Yep.
Now, a password manager knows your password.
Yep.
And um, I don't think Firefox should, and Mozilla, sorry, the organization, should have access to my password. So I'm guessing here that what is being sent over the wire are some sort of hashes and not the passwords themselves. But I,
Still.
yeah, I feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
right? There's probably some articles explaining why I shouldn't feel uncomfortable, and I still say I feel uncomfortable. I do have that feature. Remember, I was talking about Bitwarden, an open source password manager that you can self-host as well. And if you pay them the premium license, you can use that feature as well. But since this is running on the server you host, right? I have no problem with that. The moment my
It's
passwords are hosted somewhere else and they're scanning with my password, that means that they have access to my password, as opposed to only I have access to my passwords
mhm.
and they're just stored remotely there. So there's something uncomfortable about uh, this whole process.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying if you use it, understand what you're using first.
I mean, a lot of people don't know, but uh, Chrome keeps all your passwords. I mean, Google keeps all your
But encrypted, they don't have access to it. There's two.
hopefully, hopefully.
To be true, to be true, there are two levels of encryption
Well,
in the Chrome. You can ask to encrypt your private on top of your username password. So it's
yeah,
they have access to it.
yeah.
You're right.
I mean, you can go in there and say, do not back it up or do not sync it or whatever, and you can delete everything. And I did that back when I was using Chrome because
Yeah,
it's
but you can. But what I'm talking about is um, when you set up the sync and you go into that setting, you
yeah.
can set a passphrase just for the private data.
Oh,
So it's even encrypted another layer. So when you're opening a new browser and you're starting syncing, it'll ask you for a second password just for that, and that means they don't have access to it. But nobody does it, right? It's another step. Another step means you lost 90% of the people.
yeah. True.
Yeah.
All right.
Eric has a question in chat.
Display adapter. When I ran it
So
second
he's
monitor.
saying we're how far back? No, okay. Have a USB VGA display adapter that when I run is a second monitor. Windows locks in 800 by 600 resolution.
On the main screen, you mean?
Is there software that allow me to adjust the different resolution? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Is it change? Does it change the monitor that you are running as a second one, or does it change the main screen?
Let's assume it changes the second monitor. In my experience, it's always been the driver. I mean, if that assumes that the device supports more than 800 by 600.
Right, that's the problem. I think Windows defaults to 800 by 600. Windows 7 used to.
I don't know, but all I know is that I've
Yeah.
played with these things, and if it's brand new, then it absolutely should support it. But if it's not brand new, if it happens to be an older one, it could be anything. But I had some that would not lock in greater than 1024 by 768, so I threw them in the trash.
Yeah, you need and are you saying that Eric, are you also saying that you cannot go into the display properties and change the resolution for
I
that?
think he's saying
Yeah.
He didn't
That's what
say
I'm
that.
saying.
I said,
Well, it said window locked in. It probably means you can't change it.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It means it can change. Hmm.
Have you tried the first of all, try software like Display Fusion. It's a shareware, so you can trial it, see if that helps. Um, but I wonder if it has to do with the USB. Uh, Maybe if it's not USB 3 and it's USB 2, then the driver itself limits the resolution to a lower resolution for bandwidth. It is using the USB bandwidth after all. Trying to think of possible reasons. Uh, Definitely check that you're updated on everything, on the drivers, on the OS. It will change when I connect from my laptop, but not from my desktop. Okay, so how old is your desktop? And Do you have USB 3.0 on your desktop? And are you connected to a USB 3.0 on your on a desktop? Sometimes you'll have a mix of USB 3.0 and 2.0 plugs. So check all of that.
I think either that or a long message coming up.
No, I think he's testing it.
Yeah, there was a couple of situations when I remember that second, even with the video card, it does not go. I mean, I think I have the same thing over here between the big monitor and the smaller monitor. One of them is, oh no, but I can change. That's right, I can change.
So I mentioned it
Older
shortly,
desktop.
and
So maybe only USB 2.0.
yeah. So try to figure out if you have USB 2 or USB 3. I think you're limited by the bandwidth, and the driver is trying to be smart about it and not force it, and
Yeah,
that's why it's limiting.
and you can probably get a USB 3, cheap USB 3 card that will go into the computer to put it in.
Yeah, I recently got one of those. Very cheap.
Yeah. They work. They work.
Yeah, yeah. Nick mentioned that the large screens, Windows is really terrible about them.
Mhm.
So one thing Windows is terrible about large screens is what's called the full screen mode for gaming or video editing or presentation or whatever. And for that, there isn't a good solution, and that's probably because of some limitations still in the OS. And I think we're going to see a change, but it's probably still going to take time.
Oh, please do tell us. What do you know that we don't?
No. The reason I'm saying there's probably going to be a change because these monitors are becoming more widespread, and the
Mhm.
solution, the solutions the third party are providing are they exist, but they're really limited because of the OS limitation. So I'm guessing eventually, and eventually can probably be, I don't know, Windows 12, right? But it'll eventually get there. In the meantime, there are some really good solutions, either as paid software or free software. It depends on what you find. And since I bought a 42-inch Ultra HD TV and use it as the monitor, and the tool that we found most very useful. The one thing you learn with these large screens is you no longer maximize. Suddenly, maximizing a window is painful physically. You need it's painful on the neck, painful on the eyes, painful on everything, right? Suddenly it's too much space. So you're looking for ways of limiting the sizes of the windows to make sense. And the most useful tool I found was a tool called Window Grid. And I'm
Window
talking Grid. I'll send the link in a second.
grid.
Yeah, windowgrid.net.
Okay.
And Window Grid, what it allows you to drag the window with the combination of the mouse. I think it'll be hell to use on a laptop, but then we're talking about large screens, so we're good there, right? It's only for a keyboard and mouse setup. And it allows, let me share the screen and I'll try to show how this looks.
Carefully.
Yeah. Of course, it doesn't work for me right now, so screw it.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll paste the link. You see how it looks immediately. There's an animated GIF there. So this is the link, windowgrid.net. And what you do is you drag the window and it splits the screen to large blocks. And you basically drag and drop with the combination of your mouse buttons and create any any shape you want in large blocks. So instead of working with something inaccurate as dragging the window size from the corner, you have chunk controls, right? And you can easily set up the size of the window to anything that you want. This is the most effective way of resizing multiple windows in the inside the screen, placing them in the location. You can set the grid size in advance, and I found that very, very, very useful. That combined with a tool called Toolbox, I'll send the link for that. That is for managing the icons that you usually put on your desktop. So instead of that, putting it in this toolbox, which it works a bit like the desktop. It's a bit different, but it creates blocks of uh, people might have remembered, might know a tool called Fences, which I think Fences was a lot better at that, but Fences cost money. And when the Windows is updated, Fences tends to break a lot of things. So it's too deeply ingrained into Windows when it runs, and so it makes it unstable. So I like this because this is basically a tool that is overlaid over Windows, and it allows to manage the icons that you put on the desktop in groups. This way you can keep your desktop a lot more predictable and move things around to where you want to see them in groups. So combination of these two applications seems to be doing the best work on a large screen for me.
All right.
I'll find that toolbox link and I'll paste it as well.
Well, it's that time of day again. Unless somebody has something else they want to add. Mike, Nick, Steve. Going once? Nothing, huh? All right. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Gal, Mike, Nick, Steve.
Thank you.
And have a great week. And good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Update your virus scanner and back up your hard drive. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight at 7, Nick hosts Against the Norm. Right, Nick?
Yes, sir.
1 hour, 2 hours?
2 hours.
2 hours. And at 9, Mike Phillips hosts the Crypto Culture Show. Both shows are on Wilmington Big Talker 106.7 FM, and you can listen to it anywhere in the world on TuneIn. And the link is on the links in the nav bar on the left here. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.